Hello everyone, in this video I'm just going to test out a new feature I've added for Random Loop Extrude, which is already in random panels, and that is the uh, limit shading or the limit smooth uh, property, where the randomized panels are sharpened on their base edges, or the non-manifold edges, or the top edges from the depth or the extrusion. So it's going to be the same thing with random loop extrude. I might have to change this to, I'll probably just keep it. Um, so it's the same thing with random panels, and this will allow you to layer from before, layer the details and get a different look because of the assign. Because you can assign individual shading for each of the block objects. So this tank, which I posted online, this is created using random panels. So the details are created using the random panels and not yet with random loop extrude. And if I render this, so let's try and make them all sharp and see the. Okay, let's duplicate and sheet smooth by angle, and let's see the result. So they both have this look, but of course this smooth shading on the on this original object makes the some of the details really uh, smooth versus the sharp one here. So both are useful, but uh, both are generating different look based on the shading. So let's try the um, select cube and delete the randomized detail. Also hide this, and then go to save the file as a backup. Okay, shade flat. So this will be the original state of the base mesh. When you use the limit smooth feature base top, then it will shade smooth by angle the source object. And it's the same with the random loop extrude once the update hits the store. Okay, and I think we have okay, let's try the random loop extrude and use one, two, three loops and increase the distance of the clip center to clip the center line. Get rid of the line in the middle and increase the subdivision. Okay, so right now it's using the path, not the path, okay, it's using the walk solver. So let's try and switch over to square and use a smaller panel size. The smaller panel size means more detail relative to the number of subdivision you are using. Okay, and let's try and so shading none, meaning there's no shading method being used on the lab objects. So let's try and use two or three. Three. Oh, and loop number three will be using the top shading. Try where the overlapping depth. Okay, so that's good. That already looks like at this distance. That already looks like a jet type item. Of course, you can play around with the individual solvers, random solvers, or you can use the global seed, which will change them all. Okay, so that is the loop objects. So one and two loop objects is using the base shading, and then number three is using the top, um, basically sharpening the top faces of the extruded object. The Okay, so we have our tank here. Going to duplicate the base mesh. Try another one. Okay. So since the when using the smooth shading or the limit smooth feature in both random loop extrude and random panels, it's going to shade smooth the source object using this method here. So you can bring it back to either smooth or flat. Click on this and then press F9 to bring up the redo panel, and then click on this to get rid of the sharp edges. Then you're back. Oh, okay. Not get rid. Okay, toggle this off to get rid of the sharp edges or marked sharp edges. Let's try another one. And subdivide. Increase the subdivision. So by increasing the subdivision, you generate more faces for the randomization to play with. Seed, good. So from before, without the shading feature, so number one, so it will be just like that. So the smooth shading actually carries on, and when you render this, so this look will carry on in the render, and also this look, of course, the sharp. As you can see, I think um, the details on this one is more noticeable in this distance versus the sharp one. It's harder to see with the sharp one, but closer up, of course, the sharper version takes on its own personality. Okay, let's, for example, use just smooth shading for a single layer, and the other will be using none or tap, and play around with the seed value. So number two is using the smooth shading. So let's increase the ratio, meaning that 100% means that it's going to use all the faces in the selection. So by default, it's 50, meaning 50% of the selected faces will be used for randomization. And that is after the subdivision. So even if you select a single face, it will still work. Okay, so let's just change the randomization using the random seed of loop object number two. So you can create different looks. All right. So a different looks based on this combination of shading and the loop objects. So number one is using none, meaning that it inherits the it will inherit the shading of the source object. There we go. So yeah, combination of sharp. I mean, yeah, the not sharp, but combination of shade smooth by angle and the basically this is comparative to since the using the base, meaning that the base edges from the panel islands will be the one that's sharpened. So basically, this is the same as what is this? Oh, it's the vertex color. The same as using shade smooth. Okay, like this. Try and render. Okay, let's do another one. Let's try and get the base mesh. This one. So in the past versions, I've introduced the parenting system. So if you move the source, these randomized meshes will be parented to the source object. So if you move the source object, the rest of the randomized detail will follow. You can turn the parenting system off using settings and turning off parent to source. Okay. Um, do another one here and loop 1, 2, 3. You can of course use 4, but uh, most of the time I just use 3 loop objects. Okay, let's try this one. So first loop object is using uh, the shading of the source object, which is 1, which is none also, and 2 and 3 is using the top smooth shading. Okay, let's try and if you want to see what the loop object is in the result, you can turn it on and off. Let you see which of the design it is. This is our loop object number 1. Let's get this back to 50 and use lesser panel size to get more detail. So the source object is using, I think, one of the shaders that is appended using this operator here. I think it's using the, but you'd have to modify it, of course. There are flow panels soft UV. You have to modify it a bit. If you're using the vertex color, plug the vertex color in this part here. And also if you want to use the lights, you can of course amplify the lights and play around with the settings of the lights UV. And I've also added in ambient occlusion to the light scheme, and the result of the ambient occlusion is then multiplied with the um, texture being used by the shader. Okay, let's see what they look like. Let's bring the lighting to the front. So at this render distance, it looks really good. Like um, you can use this as is. depending on your skill. If you have overpaid skill, you can of course uh, overpaint on this detail once on this model once it is rendered. Bring up the ground and scale this up. By the way, the shortcut I'm using for the selection is Alt Alt. I'm using the Blender keymaps. Alt right click and it will show you all the objects that is underneath the mouse cursor. So that's why I can easily select the source object from all of these objects that is covering. So from before, from the very old version of Blender, you have to hide um, the objects covering your selection. So select it. Okay, let's uh, test render. It looks like what they look like. By the way, the textures being used by the shaders that come along with the append materials feature is also baked using random flow. Okay, so that is our tank using the random loop extrude um, shading feature. So this will be a new one in the next update. So what you have is random panels, and there will be a fix also when the update hits for this feature, because right now what you have um, essentially, take a look at this. If for example I use this on this area of the mesh, for example base or top, so you can see that these edges are soft, and if you see in the source mesh, these edges are sharp. So what you have now is that these edges will have inherited the marked sharp status of the edges from the source mesh. So it will look like this, and it's not supposed to look like that. It's supposed to look like this. So that will be fixed when this update hits to make it really look like this one here. So at the before making this video, I was actually hoping to use Creative Flow to model a robot, simple robot, but I thought I just use the current tank base mesh that I did just to make the video faster. Okay. Um. Yes. And also I use cube projection to UV this. So let's try out this render distance. Okay, so this for your concept art, for example, um, might be just some background asset, and your hero objects will be on the center of the render. They look like tanks, convincing, but let's see on closer distance. Might need some additional work, but still pretty good. Yeah, so I forgot what I was trying to. Okay, okay, so you can get rid of the quad structure by using limited solve, and it will affect the shading. I think you can just press Control T, triangulate, and fix most of it, just to keep things lighter, and then just manually fix uh, some of the areas that have distorted shading. Oh yeah, yeah. You can bake this, of course, if you have the patience to. I think this is really. I think it's easy to retopologize because the details are really just following the contours of the base mesh. So you can just, I think, use the base mesh, duplicate the base mesh, and then just use D, and then probably buff it out that, and fix some of the areas, and then use this to bake the detail of this one here. So I might, in the next video, I might try that and show you how it works. Yeah. So next video, we'll try that. We'll bake this detail into the source image. Okay, so that is it, and that will be for the next update. The shading feature for random loop extrude and random panels is I could have done this before the auto smooth rehaul in 4.1, but when I was fixing the add-on for Blender 4.1, I thought of uh, finally adding this to the two operators because this is also the same method being used by Random Starship for it. Uh, this is the alien preset. Yeah, totally alien. I've also updated it for there's an additional feature for the shading of the wings. Let's try this one. So this also uses the smooth shading method in the plating. You can see the limit smooth feature right here. So this is originally from Random Starship. You can use base or you can use none. And none, with none, you can bring down the auto smooth and use something like this. Or the auto smooth will function for the shading, whereas using base tap, it will negate the auto smooth functionality. Or shade by smooth angle. So remember that this look will carry on to the render. So you have a softer shading. Um, with this one, the top faces are the only ones that the edges of the top uh, faces of the extrusions are the ones that are being sharp, marked sharp like that. Whereas using base means that the base of the extrusions are the ones that are being marked sharp. And then I've added the plate and set operator in random flow. This is the same script that is being used by random starship to generate its hull detail. And you can see here also the limit smooth is here. And then I brought it to random panels, and now we have it in random loop extrude. Okay, so yeah, that is it. And if you have any questions, use the comment section below or the links in the description. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your support and have a nice day.